maybe not that funny of a story about how I got turned on to Jason McMaster was Ron Quintana's videos from Metal Mania with Watchtower way back in the day.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, was he just trading, kind of tape trading stuff? He had videos? Is that what it was?
I can't remember if somehow I got a hold of his zine and he was selling the two Metal Mania, they were like compilations. And
right.
Blind Illusion was on, and You Guys, and the Dead Jacksons, etc. Yeah. And so from there, I started corresponding with Ron Jarzombek and got the record.
I'm sorry, what was that?
I started corresponding shortly thereafter with Ron Jarzombek.
Oh, right.
Yeah, and
So the videos that you were just talking about, were those with Billy Wyatt?
Billy and Ron are on those. I think both.
Cool.
I think both are on there.
Was he? I don't give a shit. It's so.
This is a long time ago.
So long ago. Did people have to buy these, or was it just tape trading? Through Metal Mania.
I think I bought them for like $20.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, he didn't make $1 million. I know that. So,
Right. So then Ron...
Lars should have probably given him a check by now, don't you think?
For the name? Sure.
Yeah. They probably have a running joke about that.
They probably do. You're right. So then Ron sent me a 4-track demo of the songs that were going to be on the second record with your vocals, and which I think have been released since this time. But and then the other really nifty thing is I think I wrote him back and I said, "Can I get the lyrics?" And he sends me the lyrics for the entire second album, like I want to say 2 years before they're released, and they're all typed out.
Wow.
I wish I may still have those somewhere for all I know, but I was impressed.
And were they handwritten, or did he have them typed out?
They were typed.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, like traders and like nerd fanboy, club. I'm a card-carrying member. Shit like that is like gold.
Right? That never happens. So, yeah. And then, the rest is history.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, the Instruments of Random Murder and the Eldritch Billy White songs.
That's right.
The Fall of Reason, the Billy White song. Hidden Instincts, which I believe the demo version had a working title of Plastic Lasagna.
Nice little Watchtower.
That was Ron's first song, Watchtower, with me in the band. And so, it's for those who know, they know already that Control and Resistance record is really more my influence and Billy's influence rather than it is Ron's or Alan. To not even take away from Ron or Alan and what they mean to the sound of that record.
Sure.
But it was kind of there were too many precursors before those two guys came in. So it's all family style anyway when you think about it.
Fast forward to somewhere in the mid-90s, 94, 95, I actually did a phone interview with Billy. Illusionation was out, or the EP that preceded that. That was fun. He turned me on to Chris Whitley and Jeff Buckley, and both were still alive at that time, and I became a massive Chris Whitley fan.
Yeah. Billy was basically wonder kid, wonderkind, Japanese superhero kind of a guy to me. And I didn't know it. It didn't take long for me to realize how special the guy was, even after meeting him at 16 or 17 years old. He was this monster-looking kid who could just rip any guitar solo and nail it. And it was really the first time I'd ever seen. We were children, when you think 17, 18 years old. You don't know shit. You think you do, but kind of don't.
Nope.
And it's magical, those moments when you look back, because you know that you didn't know shit about life, but the things that you were creating. Anyway, I never saw myself as that way. So the guys in Watchtower were like these just fucking animals, that were raw talent. And Billy was very special. So when he left the band, it was a big heartache. But at the same time, when you think back, it's like, well, fuck, you need to be happy, dude. You can't just it's for the band, man. That doesn't make any sense to me. When nowadays, when you're, dare I say, grown up and you understand how to treat people, but way ahead of his time in every way, growing as a musician and all the Watchtower guys are into all kinds of different music, and they always had been. So even though it was an upset for Billy to leave the band at that time, we had to get over it and move on, and we did, and they did, and all of us continued to grow and only, do what we felt was right for ourselves. Anyway, that's a whole other story.
Mark Skaar on the Skaar Kaard on 103.7 The Fox. Proud to welcome in vocalist Jason McMaster. Sir, welcome to our airwaves.
Thanks for having me. It's a beautiful, burning morning in the Austin, Texas area, and I'm very glad to be here in chilly Iowa on the airwaves anyway.
Indeed, and I wanted to talk to you about a lot of stuff, but right in front of us is this new live record. I call them records because I'm old. Dirty Looks, Cool from the Speedway. Congratulations. This is a combination CD, DVD release, and it's great.
Yeah, thanks. Labor of love.
This was recorded back in September. Tell me about how you came together with because Dirty Looks has a vast background. If we can put it in a nutshell, that'd be cool. And talk to me about your involvement.
Yeah. Well, my involvement goes back to the fact that not only were me and the Dangerous Toys guys big fans, we first heard, it was Oh Ruby, we heard on the radio in San Antonio when we were doing our pre-gig warm-up. And this is before we were signed or anything, so it would have been like late 87 or early 1988. And Oh Ruby comes on the radio, and we were like, well, holy crap. So we were just fans immediately, and we all got the record and, saw the videos on MTV, and it was just amazing, the sound and everything. It was Max Norman produced Cool from the Wire, and then we didn't hear that they had any material prior to Cool from the Wire until much later, and I don't know, other than some hardcore fans, I don't know if they have, In Your Face or there's another one too. I can't remember what it's called. But anyway, so, we just went forward with Turn of the Screw, of course.
Mm-hmm.
So we kept, we told as many people about Dirty Looks as we could as a band, and And so we started it to record. The Toys record came out, and we toured the summer, and we're starting another leg with LA Guns and Tora Tora in Austin, Texas, hometown, and at the Austin Opera House, and it was October 11th of 1989. Dirty Looks was playing at our local watering hole where the Toys were actually discovered, called the Back Room. Dirty Looks was playing there the same night, and so it's like, oh man, well, started a tour, and I've got a whole month or 6 weeks or so to see LA Guns play 100 times, so I'm going to go see Dirty Looks after our set. What happened was I decided to hang around and check out a couple of LA Gun songs. And I said, well, it's time to go over to the back room and see Dirty Looks. So I'm walking over to the stage door, and I open it up, and Paul Idell and Jack Pyers are standing there staring at me. And I'm like, face to face, I'm like, what? Wait a minute, you're Paul and Jack from Dirty Looks. We're all heading over there to see you guys play here in a minute. And so they had come over to see the Toys play. And to this day, I need to ask Paul, I don't know if they bought tickets or if they just snuck in the back or what to see us play with LA Guns that day. But that was back in 89, and me and Paul stayed in touch. And then in 94, when his contract was up with Dirty Looks, it would have been right after 5 Easy Pieces, I think. And I also think Paul had recorded a bunch of other stuff that ended up coming out in the Dirty Looks catalog even years later, while he would be almost exclusively in Dangerous Toys. That would have been from January 94 till the present.
Mm-hmm.
So about 5 years ago, Paul calls me and he tells me this story that Gene Barnett and Jack Pyers want to basically get Dirty Looks gigging again and pay some tribute to Henrik, because Henrik, the main man, Dirty Looks, unfortunately, sadly passed away about 10 or 11 years ago. And, they wanted to do something special, and they wanted to play those songs again. And they called Paul, and they were like, well, hey, we're thinking about this and that, and what do you think? And Paul, his answer was this, and I've always been, from the day I met Paul, me and him have just really hit it off. He's such a sweet guy. If you've ever met Paul, he's just the nicest guy in the room. And Paul says immediately, he goes, well, yeah, that sounds great, but I won't do it unless Jason does it. Mm. And this is before I've even been called or asked about it or anything. Paul's just throwing my name in there. It's like, Jason's going to be the singer, or I'm not going to do it. And you guys were like, oh, shit. Well, that's kind of done deal then, because, you think he'll do it? So they were giving me the gig before I even was, and in hindsight, I would have been totally butthurt if somebody else would have got the gig, I would have been like, oh, man, they didn't call me, because they know I'm a big fan, and so that's pretty much how that came about. The thing is they came to Austin, and we rehearsed a set of songs, and on second guitar is David Beeson from Broken Teeth, another one of my bands, and he's a big fan too, and he's, him and Paul are super close, and so it was like, we rehearsed for a couple of days in Austin, and then COVID hit. Mm. So whatever plans we had just went down the drain. So 2 years later, we finally scrounge up, that gig in Selinsgrove, the one you hold in your hand, that the new record, the new live record, mm-hmm. At recorded live on video and audio from Selinsgrove Speedway, September 18th, 2021, but basically that rehearsal 2 years prior, which is null and void since we were just it was kind of like the heavy lifting, We did one rehearsal the night before the gig there in Pennsylvania and then played that show. And that's the only rehearsal the band has ever had. And so we have this, I'm super happy with what we came out, especially with the very little time and rehearsal that we put into it as a band. And so that's kind of where we are. And now we have some gigs coming up and the record's out, and yeah, it's crazy.
Talking with Jason McMaster about Dirty Looks, the new live album, Cool from the Speedway. And my understanding is, Jason, people came from all over the country to see this gig.
Yeah, there were people there, of course, from that tri-state area, that, Jersey, New York, Maryland. There were people there from Florida. There were people there from Texas. So it's kind of a wild. There were 1,000 people there. There might have been a little bit more. There might have been a little bit less, but from the head count and ticket sales and things like that, it was a huge success. I think there was probably 970 tickets sold, and then you think about guest list, family, friends, crew, et cetera, et cetera. There was 1,000 crazy rock and roll mofos out there on a dirt track watching Dirty Looks play 17 songs, which I'm told that is the longest set Dirty Looks in like a 30 or 40-year career that the band has ever done. So that's kind of a milestone as well.
Yeah, that's a haul, man. That's yeah. And you're getting your money's worth with this thing too. It's and it sounds great. That's the main thing. Is from now that you told me that kind of how little went into it in a way, it's pretty remarkable. But you're all professionals, so there you go.
Well, yeah, thank you for that. There was a ton of work in the post-production. I mean, the gig was almost rained out. There was an opening band. It was rained during their set. They had to stop for a minute. There were tarps over all the gear and all the lighting. And, people are standing in the middle of a field. If they had an umbrella, they were checking the weather, before they packed the car. So, it's muddy and it's just, it almost didn't happen. It was slightly cursed. We went through a couple of different mixing engineers. There were almost entire songs on the footage, the camera footage. There was like 2 or 3 songs where the batteries had run out on 2 out of 3 cameras. So those guys are changing out batteries and trying to hurry, and the only camera that was running during those 2 or 3 songs was the drum cam, which was hardwired, So that's where a lot of fan footage, photographs, things like that were used by Steve Miller, who edited this video, and just from fan footage, doctoring up what fell short on the camera crew. But he did a great job putting that together. He didn't have. I mean, it was shot pro. It was pro shot because there was a camera crew, but I don't know if they do wedding videos or rock videos, but I don't mean to talk smack, but I think it would be the latter.
Yeah.
It was, the footage is great. I mean, the DVD looks great, but I think that has a lot to do with a lot of different people, especially Steve Miller, who did all the editing. And another sort of curse is the production crew, staging and lighting and PA and stuff. canceled the night before. They canceled while we were rehearsing.
Oh, boy.
The night before the gig. So we had to scramble to get another production company to come in and do the gig, literally at dinner the night before the gig. And it was unforeseen things were happening very Spinal Tap. Like, it was playing out like Spinal Tap for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, those things don't just grow on trees.
Yeah. It didn't go on without a hitch. You know, there were a lot of speed bumps in the speedway, so to speak.
Indeed.
But it came out great. For what it is, it really came out great, and the record's only been out like a week right now, and our physical copies are kind of in the pipeline. I think that the first batch sold out in an hour, and then, you know, they're just waiting. The distributors are waiting for another batch. It's terrible. It's just sad. It could be because of COVID. It could be because of slow mail. It could be, who knows? Let's blame it on things, but you know, digitally it's out there, and obviously people can. Where there's a will, there's a way, and there's a lot of hardcore fans who are so excited about the record. Bless them, from the bottom of my heart, who have found a way, you know, to communicate and use their resources, and they already have the record. It hadn't even been out for 5 days or whatever, and they are such as yourself. And our website is not running right now, so there's a lot of still speed bumps that we're having to jump over, and but you know what? Everyone's happy, and the word on the street is great, and I'm just happy that it's finally out and people are excited about it, and that we have shows coming up, you know.
That's right. But people, I think, just real quick, Jason, can pick it up. Where can they go to pick it up?
Well, ideally, you know, it's available in the new world. It's available on all of the digital platforms. If you have Spotify, you can hear the whole record on Spotify. I don't particularly like Spotify, but it's out there. You can hear the record. You can go to dirtylooks.hearnow.com and hear clips of all 17, and that's actually a really good way to go find the record, because all of the digital platforms have icons there. You just click on them and do your business there. Again, that's dirtylooks.hearnow, like, you know, your ears, hearnow.com. And the videos from the DVD have yet to be leaked out. There's a bunch of fan footage that's up on YouTube right now from that show. That, in my opinion, the audio is not good. I'll just leave it at that.
Sure.
It's just not, you know, it's iPhone audio. It's just phone audio. Yeah. Does not represent the energy of what was happening that night at all.
Yeah, just get the record.
It's a good little window to be able to see, you know, these guys playing Dirty Look songs. Yeah, sure, but the full experience is the mixed audio and the video that was shot that night, all put together in content, you know, that is representative of the power of the songs and the show, and the smiles on people's faces, you know.
Talking with Jason McMaster.
But the videos have yet to be leaked out, so I'm glad about that. So it gives us a reason. DirtyLooksMusic.com is really where I would like people to try to go buy the record. But it is available once they get restocked. It is available on all the major outlets. There's a distribution company called Alliance Entertainment that's like a one-stop that does all of the chain stores. And if your favorite record store, yes, record stores still exist. If you're a downloader, you might not care, but some of us do. go to your your favorite local record store and ask them to carry it, because they can get it. It's distributed by Alliance. And Amazon is going to have more very, very soon. Like I said, Amazon sold out in like an hour. So I don't think they had very many on hand.
Sure. I'm talking with Jason McMaster, and if you don't mind, I'd like to go down the rabbit hole, because you're in 693 bands, and that's a good thing.
Yeah.
So we talked a little bit before we started talking, the talk, because I don't want to poo-poo it, but Watchtower is how I found out about you, and this is, gosh, over 35 years ago now.
Yeah.
And
easily over 35 years ago. The first Toys record has been out like 33 or 34 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So
I remember when I saw Teasin' Pleasin' on MTV, I thought, that's the guy from Watchtower. What's he doing? I bet you never got that.
Well, I'm glad that you said that instead of what everyone else in the room was saying. Oh, this guy's ripping off Axl. So the Watchtower thing, yeah. The fact that you were seeing me and going, wait a minute, I've got some videos of this guy from just a handful of years ago playing this weird thrash metal. Yeah, that's kind of cool.
Yep. And now we've got this other thing all together, which is still great. It's just completely different, kind of.
Yeah, I like a lot of different kinds of music. I mean, I've written a few Christmas songs. I've written a handful of country songs. I've written some, I dabble a little bit in like music for ads for. I did one for like an extreme sports toy. It's basically a skateboard that's on ropes that you tie to a tree, and you like ride a skateboard in the air hanging from a tree. Sounds violent, I know, but did a song for that. Anyway, I like all kinds of music, and I mean, I grew up on Queen and Elton John and Alice Cooper and Rush and UFO and Thin Lizzy, but I have to say Kiss was probably my favorite. Kiss and Queen and Elton probably bubbled to the top. And then Judas Priest and AC/DC, and I'm still with all of these influences. But, all around the house, we always had Willie Nelson and Johnny Cash and stuff like that, outlaw country. And my brothers, I have 3 brothers, and their record collections were a big influence on me as well. But around the end of the 70s, getting into just overall anything that would point, to heavy metal, like early Metal Blade bands, of course, Metallica, Slayer. But then around the same time, there was a lot of European, German thrash bands and, underground stuff that I was getting into as well. So I'm a huge metalhead, thrash metal or Bay Area thrash. And, Metallica to Merciful Fate, like, I could probably take that to my grave, Exodus, I love the first Exodus, Bonded by Blood. God, I wore that thing out. So, almost any 80s metal, a lot of people think that I'm, because I sing in butt rock bands, that I like, that I am friends with the guys in Poison or something. And I don't, that's fine. I'm glad. I like all kinds of music. So,
I met Bret Michaels once. He was a swell guy.
Yeah. Yeah, well,
you know?
they are. Everyone's. Why would it takes a lot of energy to be an asshole? Just because you don't like someone's music doesn't mean that they're not a nice guy. You know?
Right.
But the thing is if music makes an impact in any form or fashion and can make someone smile or have an emotional reaction, I feel like there needs to be some credit there, and there's room in the world for we need people enjoying themselves and smiling and having a good time and making great memories. And that doesn't matter if it's the most evil, satanic, thrash metal, crazy, death, black grind shit, or if it's butt rock or Tiffany or Lady Gaga or what it doesn't matter. Whatever it is, I feel like there's some validity to it if it's moving someone in a positive way.
Amen.
So,
amen. Yeah. So some of these bands that you do, our listeners are going to dig. I know they'll dig Broken Teeth. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, Broken Teeth's been around since 1999. So, God, we started our third decade. So we have 9 records out. They can get most of it at brokenteeth.com. It's also available out there in digital land. If you like Rose Tattoo and Rhino Bucket and Dirty Looks and AC/DC and old Judas Priest and old Motorhead, you're going to like it. It's a little bit of boogie woogie, but it's also like new wave or British heavy metal at the same time. And it's pub rock. It's Airborne kind of comes to mind.
Mm-hmm.
We don't sound like Airborne, but I'll tell you this: the guys in Airborne are big Broken Teeth fans. So that'll sum that up.
There you go.
But there's a million bands. I'm in a band called Igniter, which is like classic power thrash metal, like true metal. A little bit of Dio and King Diamond thrown on top of some thrash. I guess that would make it more Merciful Fate than, because Merciful Fate had a little bit of thrash to it.
Mm-hmm.
But there's, I'm also part of a project called Evil United, which is, there's 3 records by Evil United. There's like 8 records by Igniter. So people go shopping.
There you go.
Igniterband.com. That's IGNITOR band.com and evilunited.com, or you can look up Evil United at jasonmcmaster.net and learn all kinds of other comical things about yours truly. I've also been part of some other projects. There's one called Sycamore. It's probably the most progressive thing I've done since my Watchtower days. And Howling Sycamore is from the mind of a virtuoso guitar player by the name of David Tiso, Tiso. He's an Italian instrumentalist who contacted me on about 6.5 years ago, and we've got 2 records out. Again, the band's called Howling Sycamore.
You've got,
and music is crazy. It's like Pink Floyd death metal. It's like, if Queensryche and Metallica formed a black metal band, but kept some of their elements. I'm not going to say it sounds like new Dream Theater or heavy Dream Theater, but it has some of that. It's progressive, dark, strange, trippy, prog metal of some sort. The songs are long and about crazy, mysterious travels. Howling Sycamore.
Last year, I had Dan Lorenzo on, and of course, we talked a lot about Cassius King. I'll let you talk about that.
Yep, that was going to be my next plug, wasn't it? We're having a good time with Cassius King. Dan is very prolific. He's got a lot of irons in the fire as well.
Patriarchs in Black.
Sorry, go ahead.
Patriarchs in Black, just coming out in July.
Yeah, that's a great project with John Kelly from Typo Negative, and I love what Dan does with the guitar. It's very Tony Iommi. It's very old school. You can tell he loves old Kiss and Aerosmith and stuff like that, but leans into that boogie Sabbath kind of thing, doomy style as well. But then, it's just a fantastic rock guitar player. Cassius King has been going on for a few years, but I've known Dan forever. His old singer, Alan, took my place in Watchtower, 30 years ago.
Right.
So there's history there as well. So me and Dan put this Field Trip record. It's Cassius King Field Trip. And that's available now on Nomad Eel Records. They have a Bandcamp site. You go to Bandcamp and type in Nomad Eel Records, you will find the Cassius King record Field Trip. But we're like 90% done with our second record, which is going to be called. This is an exclusive.
Okay.
The record title of the new record is called Dread the Dawn. So that's a first. You heard about it first right here.
Breaking news, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
And I like the covers you guys picked, too. I mean, the recent covers, like the Cheap Trick, and there was a Kiss cover. Yeah, I like those. Yeah,
that goes back to, on the record, on the Field Trip record, we did Out on the Tiles.
There you go,
Led
right.
Zeppelin.
Yep.
But that's all, as far as I know, that's all Dan. Dan's just picking these songs and getting in the studio with Ron and tracking them and having fun. We just did a cover of a Paul Stanley solo album song, and it's the song "Wouldn't You Like to Know Me."
Great song.
Yeah, it is a great song, and it's very Paul Stanley. It's very sassy and high energy and high kicks, high heel boots,
Circa 1978.
And I'm trying to get we've shot some footage to make a video, and that we're in the process of that, but that's unreleased, and I don't know what we're going to actually do with that song. I don't know if that Paul Stanley cover is going to be on the new record or not, but we usually include one cover song as a bonus track, either on the vinyl or on the CD, usually on the CD. I think Out on the Tiles is on Field Trip on the CD. And
Big Eyes.
Man. Yeah. Say what?
And the Cheap Trick cover, too, Big Eyes.
Yeah, Big Eyes, that's also on the Field Trip as well. Yeah, that came out amazing.
I agree.
And I think I recorded that prior to me and Dan writing any of this, of the original stuff.
Okay.
But I've done so many things with Dan. It's kind of like he'll call me and go, "Hey, you want to sing on this?" I'm like, "Sure, send it to me." I don't have any reaction now that I'm sort of cohorts with Dan and another writing partner, if you will. So,
sure. Well, again, for all things Jason McMaster, just check out his website, and you'll see it all there. All 593 bands.
Yeah, all 1,005 bands are well documented there. You can read history, and some of them are dormant. There's a lot of stuff that's kind of hasn't done anything in years, but I guess it's still part of the big cookie.
It sure is. Jason, Thank you. This was a pleasure.
No, the pleasure is mine. Thank you for having me.
For Jason McMaster, I'm Mark Skaar. This is the Skaar Kaard on 103.7 The Fox.